Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everyone. I am excited for this long overdue review of the experiment that we're currently in the midst of Creator GPT, which is having AI as my social media manager. For those of you who are popping on, whether you're live, if you're live, hey, let me know in the chat where you're coming in from, and if you have been following this journey of having ChatGPT, where we're affectionately known as Creator GPT, as my social media manager. And it's been an experience, especially as one who has been in the marketing social media space for a considerable amount of time, over 15 years. And then now to say, you know what? ChatGPT, here you go. Here is all of our information, all my information, and you're going to manage my social media and help to grow this community to 100,000 followers. So, just for some context, we are so today. This recap, I wanted to do it last week, but life and making sure that we were still putting out enough content for the challenge. But we're officially, so today would be day 12 of the challenge, and it's a 30-day challenge where ChatGPT will is the social media manager. So and I am the human counterpart per se. And it really was inspired by Dominic, Mr. Grateful. That's his Instagram handle, where he said, he would, how well does AI, how well can AI really help to grow a community, to grow a following? And he started that back in March. And I know I followed the journey, some exceptional content and ideas around that. And so I was like, wait a second, being in this space, seeing what's happening with AI, what's happening, just this revolution, this transformation that's taking place, to see, how can we use it apart from, I'm sure many of you in your feed, you see all these AI tools, or at the workplace or on the news, it's AI everywhere. But it's like, how do you actually integrate it and practically integrate it into your business systems or in your day to day? We're primarily focused on the content creation process and what that means and how people can use. So that for us, for me, that is the way the challenges is going. And so initially announced it on LinkedIn. So I started the account at roughly, when we first started putting the plans together, it was roughly 215 followers. And you know what? If you give me a moment, I can actually connect this device so you can actually see what it looks like. But yes, initially it was 215 when we said, okay, we're going to do this. And then LinkedIn has really been this place where I am I'm showing the behind the scenes and the strategy and how this is all, all piecing it together. So from the announcement post, it was like people started following it up, like, oh, we can't really we can't really use those numbers. So it was starting at 226. We're now, so this is day 12, but the data that I'm going to give you and share with you is up until last week Friday, so a few days ago. And now we grew 9%. And let me pull up, we've got some charts here to just share with you, just showing you the progress that we've had to date. And so yes, that it was, so a 9% growth. And it's very ambitious to try to say, you're going to grow a community to 100,000. And mind you, this is without any, not paying for any ads. So there are no Instagram ads, there are no Google ads, there are no ads anywhere. This is all organic. And if you are in this marketing space, you know organic is dead. You've got to put some money, some advertising, some elbow grease, even if that is having, people on your team that are in people's DMs, or just the amount of content that you create to really put out there, so that people, you will get eyeballs and get traction, and hopefully, depending on your business, convert those eyeballs to then followers, and convert those followers to then loyal followers, and then converting those followers to actually buying or registering or signing up, whatever that may mean for your business. So to say that, okay, jumping on this challenge, and I'm just painting this picture, like the context and how large of a feat it is. However, I say all of that to say that he was able to do that. And if you, again, best bear with me a moment so I can this pull in the PDF that I have. Okay, cool. Here we go. And waiting for share screen. If you are on the replay, go ahead and let me know that you're one of the replay watchers. And you know what I neglected to do, that I typically do whenever I go live, is to also make sure that I can see and I can hear it. Okay, cool. So I see it live on LinkedIn. Um, I see it and I see the captions. So we're good. If you're watching, let me know that you can hear well over there. All right. So let's add this to, so this is a weekend review, the past 7 days. And again, today's day 12, and this was as of last week, Friday. So as I broke down, the whole idea is having ChatGPT as a social media manager. And for some of you might be wondering, well, what does that mean? So the way that it started was I created first of all, we gathered all the data. So we looked at all the past posts for roughly like 90 to like all the way back to the beginning. So from January till approximately end of April, May, all that data. So that is the plays, the reach, the likes, the saves, the share, inputted all of that data into ChatGPT, because what makes a platform or the AI like ChatGPT, what makes that work is not just like having a clean slate and saying, hey, create a calendar for me, or create some posts for me, or come up with a strategy. It needs a frame of reference. Like that's why it's called like these language learning models. So it's going to learn based on every prompt, every type of text, every piece of information that you put into it. And then it is generative AI. So it is going to take that and it's going to create something from that. And so by putting all of that information in there, that's when I then started with, okay, so someone had said, because I shared that I was going to come on live and I was going to talk about the review. So a sample prompt, like one of the first prompts after putting all of that information, was saying, you are going to act as a social media manager. And based on this information, I will be the human counterpart. I'll be the person who will be executing the ideas that you share. We will collaborate together on this, and in us collaborating, we'll come up with content, and we'll make some shifts, and I'll talk about that in a moment. We'll make some shifts, and the whole idea is that your goal, and that's explicitly whenever you are creating any kind of prompts, especially if there's some sort of outcome, you always want to be very clear, like what is the outcome? The outcome being, I want you to put together this budget. The outcome is a business plan. The outcome in this case is like, the outcome is, okay, we are building towards your end goal is to help me to get to 100,000, to build this community of 100,000 people who are interested in AI, content creation, and business, and how those worlds intersect. So as I have here, like, okay, that's the goal. And you'll see down here in the corner, it's like, Create with Liberty is the Instagram account that we're building towards. And so here, this is the review. This is what it looked like last week when I pulled all the numbers together, and that's just after after 6 days, day zero being the day of the announcement. As you can see here, is we there was an increase. You see the curve trending upwards of the account reach and incrementally followers. And when I look at the data, even around the followers, that really is not only just people coming from Instagram. Those were people who saw, because I'm also reposting on primarily LinkedIn. We just started Twitter. We just started reposting the videos because we're doing videos almost every day, and putting that on TikTok. And there was like a huge uptick last night. So we're like, oh, wait, you know what? Let's go ahead and, just put it on TikTok and see how that will help to drive conversion, if any. And so just looking at, and again, I mentioned that there was a 9% growth. So at this point in time, it was roughly, I think we had hit like 269 or so. So roughly like 30-ish people had begun to follow, and many of them again from LinkedIn, and people who are curious. So the pros and cons with that, of having people coming from different platforms, and talking about the fact that this is a challenge, that the audience so far is, when we look at it, is there are a number of people who are social media folks that are highly interested, because if you can, because it's a cost savings to be able to use a platform like ChatGPT, or to be able to see what tips and tricks you can develop from just doing organic efforts for social media to drive engagement, to drive traction. So there's that component of the audience, but then there is a heavy, and I'll get to that number shortly, of just like even demographic wise. Then there are people who are, okay, I'm hearing this thing about AI, and what is it? And those are the people, those are one of the groups of people that we're going after, is okay, the AI, the combination of the enthusiasts and or the people who are just getting started and really want to have a better understanding of what that looks like. And so just even content wise, so we started out with, and I say started out because that's that should allude to something coming. Started out with just doing reels. Again, based off of Mr. Grateful and how he was like every day doing reels. Now, he did say in one of his first videos that he would be putting out other kind of content and still be doing that. However, and this is my hypothesis based on just looking at his feed and following him, he primarily did reels, and it was almost like a one a day reel, and then engaged with the community in his stories, keeping them up to date on what's taking place. Now, where we were great, the feedback on the reels, very informative, getting a lot of comments, and I'll talk about the engagement and the reach in a moment, having those elements. However, a 90-second, and if you, and I'll link in this video a link to the account and to a video. The videos that we are putting out, a 90-second video, it does not take 90 seconds, 30 minutes. It does not take 45 minutes to put something like together. So just analyzing and putting that analysis together of, okay, you know what? We're spending way too much time, based on, again, this is a 30-day challenge. And at this point of just doing this documentation and the analytics, you're at day 6, and we had not even started stories yet. Like, there were some stories that took place in the beginning, but again, being in this space, they weren't necessarily branded. It was pushing things out, and it was just, for me, not up to my standards. So therefore I was like, okay, no, we can't do stories. Let's just focus on the reels and get the reels out. So putting those out, and for week 1, the goal was very much consistency. Like, let's just make sure that we get it out, we're consistent, and we get a video out every day. And by the end of the week, just like really looking at that, yes, it was wonderful. Got the videos out. There was some engagement and people's excitement, but then to really say, whoo, we're not really moving the needle together yet. And we have 20 plus days left. So In the back end, I was having conversations with Creator GPT. Again, that's Chat GPT, but the name we're using for our agent is Creator GPT because we are creating content, we're creating this community, we're creating this experience. And just from that, I was like, hey, Creator GPT, like we're seeing incremental growth, but we haven't hit the 500, we haven't hit 1,000 yet. And it's interesting to see even that very much so. Some of even the feedback initially, and even today, because we had a whole deep dive today, but even saying, like, listen, what you're doing is not impossible, but it's really, it's a big feat. It's a big undertaking without ads, without any, putting any money, without doing anything illegal, without buying any, buying followers or anything of that matter. So it's actually like very comforting that chat gpt, the AI, was comforting, like that, don't worry about this, I believe in you. That which makes me think, even, what, that might be a good reel, or even a good topic to cover, is just like mental health and AI. So let me just getting back to this, just content wise. So one of the changes that we've made is, what, we need to, since we need to put out more volume so that, Instagram, the algorithm, gets an idea of what kind of content, because much like YouTube, for those of you who are familiar with the platform and how that works, YouTube is going to serve your content up to more people based on engagement, based on watch time. So if we're just getting out, and it's being trained on the kind of content, the people who are watching a certain type of video and then they go to the next one. And so that was just like off riff. It's like, okay, we need volume. We need more content going out so that more people, so that our Instagram will recognize that, okay, they serve quality content, informational, people like it. And so yes, so our goal this week is serving up more content, and we've done that so far. I mentioned even with the reels, the real sorry, I mentioned with the stories. So a big thing for us that has been successful, and we're doubling down on that even more, is the organization. Like, in order to be pumping out, so the goal coming into this week, or I should say as of today and moving forward, is to get out essentially like three pieces of content. And when I say that, that is, getting out a reel, however that looks, and we're also condensing the time. I said the 90 seconds, the production time that goes into 90 seconds of 90 seconds of content, versus putting out some really snackable content, and that being, the what's some of the things that are trending right now. And it does not always have to be trending, but we are looking for whatever wind that we can get in our sail. Things like that on Instagram are, the 5 seconds, and then you've got the text on it, or the tips, or the flash of the tool, while our content was very like walking you through all of this animation, very TikToky, but long form in the sense of like 90 seconds. So that was an executive decision that I was like, yeah, no, we've got to cut time, because we've got to make up ground, especially since we didn't have stories. We had people following, but didn't necessarily have stories happening. And now, mind you, very much so that there was still engagement happening, and like responding to comments. So the very fundamental and basic things that you would want to do with accounts like that was definitely happening. But again, it's a new account, it's going to take time. And if it was not for the doing this in 30 days, that would be more realistic, and just the tactics would not necessarily have to be so aggressive. So for anyone who is watching, and you may be a social media manager, or marketing, or work in communications, or you work in some department and you're trying to figure out how to integrate AI into your communications or your marketing, please know what I am doing is extreme and highly aggressive. And again, without a budget, I would always highly recommend, if you have any sort of spend that you can, a perfect example. And I'm trying to see if I can get this. Give me one moment here because I want to get this up so that I can just kind of walk you through. Forgive me because I did not have this open. I knew I was going to want to do just share some numbers and information with you, but then I was like, I did not want to be late at all in coming here. Okay. So a perfect example being that, okay, so we know that, there's this brand new account, and Instagram is right now, it's like, you're a new account. Everybody's talking about AI. So what makes you special? And so in just putting out like one piece of content, like, yes, there might be a couple people that might like. Really, we're looking at, making sure that we get more shares, that we are getting more saves and comments. Likes are cool. Appreciate, very grateful for likes. But when people are saving, and if you think about it, of just like you're playing a video game and you get certain points for things, your points are more so on the saves, the shares, and the comments, and then likes on the bottom. So if that's just one piece of content, and say we're averaging two or three comments a post, and that's one post in 24 hours, versus the updated strategy being, okay, we're gonna put out that one. And believe, and I'm tapping in a little bit into what I would probably talk about for week 2, because we had a meeting this morning, and went through that. So if this is, a piece, oops, bring this back up. So if this is a piece of content that's going out, at 7 a.m., you've got that morning window, when, and mind you that this is also looking at some of the data and looking historically on how my audience, because this is on my personal, or my account, so how my audience, like that morning window is typically really good. And then again, around the 3 o'clock-ish hour is another time that is good. So if we're looking at minimum 2 to 3 pieces of content, it's like putting something out first thing in the morning, and then coming back again at approximately, this is so inside baseball right now, coming back again at roughly, like, say 12 p.m. with another piece of content. And one of the things that, even with ChatGPT and going through, like, hey, we need to pump it up a little bit. And while the goal was to, like, just have a reel go out every day, ChatGPT literally said you might want to look at bringing in some other elements to really know what's going to hit. And that's why I say, even, like, it's a challenge, but it is this experiment that we're doing. And when you are in the midst of doing an experiment, it's like you come in with your theory, your idea, your thesis, but then you have to be open. And if there's anything you get from this live, and even what I am doing with using AI and heavily integrating it into our marketing and our business solutions, is, okay, now we've had some time here, and if it's not clicking, this was another lesson I didn't put in the document, but this was another lesson wanting to share, is just, you have to separate yourself from your ego. So we do content, so the entertaining, the polished videos, like, while that is all great, in this case, that it does not connect, and knowing that we need to put out some more content. So again, going back to this, so we've got, one coming in at 6:12, and then another piece at roughly, it was 3 p.m., that was it. So making sure that we hit, like, one, two to three of these time zones. So this is now ramping up on that content and what that looks like, and making sure that, look, based on our resources and based on just even traction and how people are engaging with the content. So this is the new strategy, the learning of, so it was on Saturday, no, Friday. Friday, two things, Friday and Saturday, tested new pieces of content based on ChatGPT. And I'll actually share that with you, just like showing you the clear difference in what that looked like as I switched so that you can see it off of my mobile device. And that was that was definitely rewarding to see that, to be able to be like, okay, great. So it is hitting, and just even the feedback that we received from the community was wonderful. And I will save that. And oh, look at that. Some more new folks. So I'm just going to switch for a moment here. So as you see, and this is also one of the reasons that I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make sure, even coming in live, so that there's just this, we're documenting the journey, documenting the process. So just looking at, this shows you the grid of the past week and then some, because again, today is day 5. So here's a so one thing. So as you'll see here, like just long this is again another 90-second. You've got the quick cuts, you've got the transitions, you have all that fun and dynamic stuff that makes a polished video. However, if it is, and one of the things that ChatGPT, let's see, this video, um, so this one reach wise. So the great thing is, like, looking at the percent, that's like 75% non-followers. So that is great. And so this is relatively new because we didn't have watch time last week. And I think we had just posted enough content to be able to get access to the business insights on Instagram. But looking at your retention time is important, and that's just your watch time. How long are people watching your content? And to see that, based on this, if you looked at this, what would you then infer if you saw that the majority of your videos had this level of watch time? So we see that, it starts to dip down around the 11-second mark. You're just under 50%, or even here we're like 45. That's still still very good, that you've got 30, almost 40% watch time 40 seconds in, that people are still engaged with it. And this video is almost consistent with the time wise, that okay, so this is, like I said, roughly a 90-second video. You've got almost 20% of your audience following through. So that's something that we want to measure. And just even on this analysis, it is, oh, you know what? As I said, that we're looking at reducing the time. So we know that we have roughly 30%. So it would be now going into this week, measuring to see, okay, if we put out a 30 to 45-second video, what will that watch time, what will the retention rate be for that? Because then now, if the number is much higher, again, we are looking at like 20% there. But then if we're still getting that 30%, not bad. I would hope that then we would have a higher retention rate, because we now have a shorter video clip. So those are just some of the things that we're looking at, through this analysis. So what was the, oh yeah, also wanting to, so this was a jam-packed one. This actually walked through, here's the tools, from a production perspective, that are used, and seeing that like four people shared that. Now, here's where Friday was and now this kind of goes. So since I'm, it kind of goes more into what I would share for week 2, but you get a little peek into that. So this now was like, I think, like a 12-second video. And just looking at that wise, that had, like, looking, if we look at the difference, and this is when you are doing your analytics, that you want to have a very holistic look at this. So while this was like, okay, so 80 plays, there was a share, and this one reached more of our followers. Now the data doesn't show it here, but this video went out at like 5, 6 o'clock on a Friday night. you know, that is typically, unless you're a food blogger or one of those channels, like, yes, that those communities, it makes sense. People are looking, you're looking at what your audience is doing at that time. So those people are people would be looking for food or eatery or places to go. Those accounts, a Friday, a weekend makes a whole lot of sense. A business creator, like informational account, not really. So for it to have gone out so late, and yes, that the 80 play is not necessarily the greatest, but if you think about relative to our audience at roughly 200, that's just under like what 40% of our viewers. And I'm constantly looking at how can we get, new eyeballs to be able to convert. But going back, so this video was 5 seconds, like almost 80%. That's a really high number, like 80% of people following, like watching it all the way to the end. So just giving you a quick sneak peek at, like, again, some of the changes. And another important change that we did was knowing that our content, like those 90-second videos, were pretty dense. They were packed with so much information. And you don't always have to it's not always just having just that type of content. Like, that easily in that 90 seconds there could be 5 or 6 tips shared. And this is why whenever people come to us, or our company content, sorry, got tongue tied there, content GA's production studio in Decatur, like when they come and they want to do just like one piece of content, we're like, no, you want to break it down. And people, and this the psychology and how people consume information, that you, based on what it is you're trying to promote or communicate to your audience, that you most likely have 7 or 8 videos in that one, like 20-minute, you want to do this 20-minute piece, or even a 5-minute video has so much content. So looking at a 60-second video, there were so many other pieces of content that could go there. And so with this one, and just doing this as a different, so now this is not a reel, this is a carousel. And so we're literally breaking down, hey, because in one of our videos there was this prompt in the video, and we shared with the audience on how they would be able to, how they could do this similarly, like, hey, you can create this content calendar as well. And so it's like we literally walk our community through that, and in 9 slides in this carousel. So now testing that out and seeing that, what, that actually worked. Looking at it here, 13 saves. 10 now, it has 31 likes, and that's why you really want to weight your engagement and be mindful of how you do that, because those likes, and again, thanking all those people who liked it, but you've got 13 saves. So people either found this valuable because they're going to use it. They either found it valuable because they're like, I want to copy this, I want to do this, something like this. So it's like a brainstorm or an idea. And then people actually shared that out. And I hope one day, Instagram, can I look at the camera for a minute? Instagram, one day, can you please let us know, like, who is sharing? Like, we should be able to click there and see where those shares go. I'm just saying, anyone has any ins at Instagram, that's my ticket, my support ticket to just asking them for that. No, don't do anything, Siri. Alrighty. And then profile activity. So if we're looking at that hierarchy, we're looking for conversions. We're looking for people to go from just not in looking at the content, but you want your content to convert. When I do this challenge, the Make More Content Challenge, and that is for women in business who are looking to not only gain more confidence and clarity in their content, but being able to have a system to help them to create more content so that they can reach their audience faster and get to the dollars, get to the money faster. And so even in saying that, like that example of putting out some content, now people are digging. We're a brand new account. So this is now people digging deeper, where they're looking at, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I like this content. who is this? Because however they found it, whether they found the account through hashtags, whether they found it because somebody else shared it, so they click through, and now, because that's the thing, the whole funnel idea, and I can always come back and do that in another live. But the sales funnel of the attraction, getting them into attract, getting them to like go grow further and further to get to learn more about you and who you are, and ultimately convert them if they are the right customer. Your the customers are looking for you. That's what I always say. Your customers are looking for you. Your content is acts as the salespeople, acts as the ambassadors. So while you're sleeping, your content should be working out there for you. I think I wanted to share one more. So we had I shared the shorter video, I shared the carousel. So just, just even having the impact there. And then the last thing that I will touch on from this perspective is you'll see it in the highlights of just wanting to make sure that the stories, just the even the branding in the stories, sharing some of the prompts and sharing the journey of this creator GPT, and how being able to make it work. I shared earlier, like the first week we didn't do stories because I didn't want to just do stories. And see, this is the community going in. So a lot of people have a lot of faith. They think that we're going to get to the 100,000. I have faith if we work the system and are consistent. That's going to be the big thing, is being consistent, and just engagement. And this is like giving our community insider, like, hey, here are the things that we're going to focus on, in our testing, in our learning as well. And this, I think we shared. And a big part, oh, I did not save it, so I'll need to go back into the stories there to save that. It was also, I would say that one of the growth moments, is that a good way to say that, is that making sure, like, that we're growing a community, and community building is valuable, extremely valuable. I have a friend, Jane Marie Smith, who always says, like, if you have a community, you don't have to worry, you don't have to worry for anything, for the sake, for your business, for the rest of your life, is how she says it. Because when you're nurturing a community and you're serving them to the highest ability, that then in is you are making sure that you're finding out what they need, finding out how to deliver it to them, you're getting feedback. So that's another thing of just the engagement in our stories, to be able to hear from them, like, what do you need, what more, like, do you want to see more prompts this week, do you want to see more tips this week? Because then we become their trusted source. People do business with, or follow accounts with, those that they know, like, and trust. And we're very early building that trust factor, building that trust element. And another thing just of significance in this was, like, wait a minute. So this was really interesting because, so our content reach wise. So when you saw the slide in the beginning and it showed just the growth, the curve, the upward curve towards being able to reach more. I think we're averaging roughly like 1,500 post wise with our reach. So reach being one thing, but the people who are engaging with our content. So see, while it still skews high towards women, but there's an even greater, you're almost looking at 75% of the people who are engaging with our content women wise. So I know, and you might say, Liberty, like, why is that significant? Like, why does that matter? And here's why that matters. Because in however you're doing your content, creating your content, and I know I said this to someone, of just like looking at one of the videos that we were putting out. And as I was going through it and giving it its final scrub through and making sure that it had, just, going through captions, the script, I do want to come back. Let me know if you'd like to see, like, just some of the tools that we're using. And I can actually walk through some tutorials for that, because I think that would be very valuable, especially if you are in a communications capacity. Like, a lot of this has to do with upskilling and making sure that people are prepared for the work, the shift in how you create content, the shift in being able to put more out. I will definitely say it's one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy using Chat GPT, is the speed at which we can iterate, and the speed at which we're putting out, like, even with the script. So when I say ChatGPT is like walking through all of the things, it is walking through that of like, hey, so we bring our ideas together and we're collaborating, and this idea, and ChatGPT will put it out. I'm like mad because if you haven't heard this terminology yet, but when you use something like a ChatGPT, that you ultimately are the subject matter expert. It may have the resources because it's pulling again, whenever there's a moment, whenever I have a moment that I can telestrate. I'm all about the telestration life. So you're the subject matter expert, and then you're partnering with ChatGPT, ChatGPT, and this is you. And now ChatGPT has access to images, it has access to text, it has access to, video, it has access to all of this content. So when you're there and able to prompt it well and to say, help me with this, find this, you're an expert that, however you are prompting it, whatever tasks or assignments that you're giving it, then you still have you still have the final say, but it is just basically going out and doing the work for you, whether that be personal assistance, whether that be in an enterprise, you've got your chat bots going out there, and all of those scenarios to for you to be able to optimize your work, for to save your time so that you're focused on higher level tasks. Like I said, looking at just the effort that we're putting out with our content. And this is very real. This is why I said, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm sharing and I'm documenting what's happening behind the scenes, because what I'm doing, while it's always harder when you're working on something for yourself versus, when you're working on it for the client and doing all the things, just trying to have a very objective view in this. And so being able to see these one a day videos that look really good, but are those videos converting? And that's what a lot of, and I won't tell your boss, I won't tell your managers, I won't tell, for those of you that try to champion and say, should we try something else, this is not working, like, keep speaking up. And if you have data to show that it's not working, if you can find some way to like, hey, can we just do a test, and to try to validate your ideas, that it'll help you go much further, much faster, to get the results that you're looking for. So as I wind down, that that is not even the most of this. So much in week one, and I'm happy that, like, some of the ways that I am documenting is through voice note. I've got, whenever we're in and talking to ChatGPT, I said, like, one of the big things, organization. I shared organization from, like, the stories and the creative side of things, but that's also organization in daily scripts, the scripts that are being created, organization in the b-roll and the folders. So all of those things, and because it was a matter of getting started and getting that muscle memory in, like, this is definitely helping. And excuse me, with even the template of, now we've got a template, so try this prompt. Like, we're really looking at programming, and so that our audience knows that, okay, it's this day or this time of day, they can expect, they're looking out for some sort of tip or some sort of insight that will help them with their day, or help them with their going. Even just sharing the prompt, it was like I got phone calls, which is amazing. Like, again, trying to put ego in its place, but getting phone calls like, thank you so much, like, I exactly needed this at this right time. That I got a DM where someone said, thank you so much, they're going to use this on their, with their client. So going back to that chart, that drawing that I just did, of like putting out, the goal is to put out some more content more frequently, so that it will help us to ramp up and to be to quickly identify what resonates with the audience, because of the things that resonate in the audience, we want to do more of that. So there it is, the first week that this might be an extended. This was an extended version of the week review for Creator GPT, which is making sure that we are 30 days. ChatGPT, social media manager, giving direction, giving guidance on what could work, and taking those insights and learning from it. So as much as it's like this ChatGPT, the ChatGPT challenge, road to 100K, building a community, but it is also very much learning aggressively, learning along the way, and really building that muscle memory. So even from prompting and using tools like Descript to quickly, and those are things like, so we've been using Descript since October, November of last year, and in doing the challenge, all so much more under the hood, and really, really working with that tool and getting some exceptional results, that's translating to our ability to output content much more faster, quicker, and then even strategies for our clients to help them getting their content out quicker and faster. So there it is. Thank you. If you're a replay watcher, please type. I should have said this much earlier, but you've probably been taking notes. So please go ahead, type replay in the comments below. I will be back there. I will be back. My goal was to do this on Fridays, but I will be with the Women of the Future. So we've got a Web3, and I will post that also in the comments. So if you're watching, so that you'll be able to join us for that. But we've got a 1 day activation with some amazing speakers in the Web3 space. I will be talking about AI marketing, so I'm looking forward to that. And then also, I'll be back on Thursday, yes, with Cynthia Respect, and we will be talking about AI and operations. So if you are looking to figure out how you can pull certain tools and certain workflows into your day-to-day business operations, you want to tune in, because Cynthia is the GOAT in that space. So I'm looking forward to having her on. So I am Liberty. Go ahead, follow the challenge, hashtag CreatorGPT. That'll show you some of the posts. One of the things I'm looking at too is like, I've sprinkled posts on LinkedIn, but if we're really trying to drive traffic, and again, all organic, that it makes the most sense to use the tools and the resources that we have to do that. So this is the end of day 12. This was a weekend review of last week, the 7 days out of last week. And then so I'll be back with a recap of the learnings for this week. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Bye.